Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. I have a return guest on. I have John Sullivan. The last time he was on my podcast was season 4, episode 1, which is on January 2nd of 2023, where he spoke out on the corrupt state employees. And he stated, "Does this sound right to you? Fix this." Now, since then, the day after our podcast, he gets a call from a Demetrius Sterling saying that he was upset about our little podcast and he was going to look into his case. And he also informed John that he should cooperate with Ottawa County. Then he received another phone call from Bethany Christian Services Adoption Agency, where Leah Giamatti was asking about him adopting his own biological children. On top of that, John is also forced to pay child support on his own children who should be with him, as the mother is, her rights have been, are looking into from the CPS. However, they've also placed her charges onto the father who hasn't seen the kids in quite some time. They have no right to do that. She committed those actions. The father did not. However, they're taking about $400 and some out of his disability. Now, there's court documents that have been signed in pen or pencil, and sometimes with no signatures being sent to his home. Also, with cases of other people, other fathers. We have a lot to talk about because John has also reached out to Channel 3 News, Fox 17, WMT News, Detroit News, and he needs to be heard. And I welcome you back to Slam the Gavel podcast, John Sullivan.
Thank
I
you
really,
for having me.
yeah. To adopt your own biological children. So how much money do they want for that? Did she say?
They're not saying that. I guess they were just basically trying to see if I want to adopt my children and sign all these forms like this is an adoption agency, like turning where we live into an adoption home by signing paperwork in order for me to, I guess, get my children or adopt them. So I was like, why go through all that, background checks, this and that, visits and all. Like, no, I'm not doing none of that. Like I'm a person just like everybody else in this world is a person. I don't know what person in this world will want to have their home, their castle where they feel comfortable violated due to some state employees want to be rogue. I'm, I just don't get that. I just don't get it.
And then they're saying, well, you don't want to see your kids. So they're throwing that in your face.
Yeah, that's basically what they were saying all in the beginning too. That well, he doesn't want to cooperate. He's not seeing his children. He hasn't seen his children. You people don't know anything about what's going on. How could you even know about that when you guys told me that nobody could find me and nobody knew who I was? So it's just funny to me that these people act like they don't have. I thought these people supposed to went to school and got all these big people degrees and studied and did all these things, but I see none of these people with those degrees, if they have them, should even have them. They shouldn't even have jobs. They shouldn't
Right.
even be working in the field because I feel like if those people got kids, I hope they kids and family members see these podcasts so maybe they can explain that to their children and their family members and their friends of why is this guy talking about you people saying that you guys did these things to him. So how could you explain that to your family? Because I feel like nobody cares until it hits home. Nobody cares until it's happening to them. So, like
And
I said, I've been trying to get help from everybody,
mhm.
even the head director that's supposed to be over everybody here in Michigan, Elizabeth Elizabeth Hurtle. She's supposed to be like the boss of Demetrius Starling and all of these people. I've sent her emails, multiple emails explaining this whole situation. Haven't gotten a response back from her. I've sent emails to Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Finally got an email address for her. Sent her numerous emails about what's going on. Nobody cares. All this state cares about is the gas prices going up. What can they benefit off of? What new buildings they can put up? That's the only things that these people here care about. Because like I said, once again, if this happens to anybody, I don't care what color you are, black, white, brown, green, yellow, how would you feel knowing that a state worker, employee who swore under oath planted false charges on one of your loved ones, and you know that your loved one was not accused of any of those accusations? Would you guys just be sitting there? And I've got a lot of hateful things. People telling me, you seem like you're the problem. You should move away. You should go other places. If you don't feel comfortable here, maybe you should move. I had somebody tell me that because this is a Dutch town, some of the Dutch people really don't even like their own kind, the Dutch. Like, what difference does that make? This is about what's right and what's right and what's wrong is wrong. We all have brains. We
Oh,
are pretty sure, we should all have brains, but I see a lot of people act like they don't.
exactly. What is the governor's full name? Gretchen.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer,
How do I spell that?
Gretchen Gretchen Whitmore, so I think it's Whitmore.
Gotcha. So when was she into office? Do you know? Is she newly elected?
No, she's been the governor for a while.
Hmm.
This is like her second term.
Okay. Well, she should be helping you. I
Yeah,
had
she should. Just like Elizabeth Hurtle, who's
right.
supposed to be the boss of all the CPS and even the Demetrius Starling guy, who I find that funny when I go digging to see what's going on with that. He's the low man on the totem pole of all these people. So I figure, like, why is this guy calling me? Why didn't I get a call from Elizabeth Hurtle explaining to me or trying to help me or telling me, oh, Miss Sullivan, you know what? We're going to look into this because we see you have some issues and some understandings that you want understood. But nobody has contacted me. And
That's
if they have contacted me since then, it's all with the same threats. And I'm getting tired of it.
right. I had an incident where I had written the newly elected governor, and I told him what was going on with my CPS case.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually called that office and shook them up. And I was told by the head of the caseworkers that they all had a big meeting
Mm-hmm.
and that they were not allowed to call any parent mentally ill unless they had a PhD in psychology.
Right.
And he took the first caseworker and removed her from the field. And he told me that, she's not fit to be around people. So they gave her a desk job, where
Mm-hmm.
she then told the judge that
Mm-hmm.
she got promoted. Which she didn't. She got demoted, but in her
Promoted.
mind, she would like to think she got promoted.
Right.
But that's, the governor should be helping you
Mm-hmm.
over all of this.
No, nobody's help but you with giving us a voice to express these concerns and issues. Nobody's help but you. So I appreciate that. But the people here in my state that I feel like should be helping and listening, it's like nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
uh,
So it's like I'm fed up. It's like my trust is shot. I,
mhm.
I don't trust nothing about the justice system. It's always been like that. But when this happened, this really blew the lid off of how I have respect towards police officers now, towards lawyers now, towards judges. I take that back. Not all of those people. You have good police officers, you have good lawyers, good judges, but those rogue judges, lawyers, police officers, you will all burn in hell. You will all burn in hell for what you're doing, for the way you're treating people, the things that you're doing to families, the way you make people feel. You don't know, what if somebody is having a bad episode of dealing with their whatever disability or mental disability? What if something like this happened to somebody and they killed themselves,
Mhm.
knowing that they were not around when anything occurred, but here it is, they have charges on them? What would you guys do then if somebody killed themselves or hurt themselves? Or that's why you have a lot of people going in these places, shooting up buildings,
Mhm.
harming people, because we don't know what they're going through. And things like this make people blow up.
Mhm.
But it's like you got to stay strong, because somebody's going to see this, no doubt in my mind. And I know somebody's going to help reach out something. So it's just a patient waiting game, even though I'm dealing with all this stressful bullshit that I'm getting from this state and this county that I'm living in. But I'm not gonna let that break me, because like I said, I'm not gonna be pushed over. I'm not gonna be bullied. And I feel like if you had abuse and neglect charges, why wasn't I thrown in jail? Why wasn't the mother thrown in jail? When people have those kind of charges, I thought you get put in jail.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it's just, I find that funny that the mother wasn't even put in jail for abuse and neglect, and they were allowing her to just act like, not even come to court. She's on Zoom calls, and this case is about what she was doing, telling the judge that, oh, I can't tell you my location. And how are you
Ah.
telling the judge that you can't tell him where you're at? But I'm sitting up in here due to the fact that you messed up. You got our kids in a fucked up situation. And here it is, she's sitting in the courtroom on a big screen with her lawyer and all these other people, telling the judge that she can't give out a location and all this. And then these people blurt, like, talking about people's medical histories and all this, and then talking down on my disability, telling
Mhm.
me that I'm disabled and I only get one check I can't take. I mean, I don't know where they got that from or what made them think that that was okay. But that really broke me down in there that day, like, because I'm not the only disabled person in the world. So I feel like how a a room full of people that's disabled, that they can't take care of their children because they disabled and they receive one check a month. I don't get that.
No, I don't either. So when she said she wouldn't disclose her location, the judge just sat there and took it?
Basically, after a while, as I started seeing that day on July 9th, it was all just like a big circus show.
Mhm.
You know, I just left. For one, you're not gonna keep me in here, and
Mhm.
I'm not even in trouble. Then you already just you just violated me, talking about my medical history in front of all these people that I don't know, and I didn't give nobody no consent to even explain that. They use a letter to go against me. It's like they're trying to use things against people, and that's so wrong. That's so wrong.
It
Like,
it's typical. They will use, you know, they'll violate a HIPAA they do this all the time.
mhm.
It was done to me. I've heard it from other parents.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
like I said,
and oh goodness, goodness.
yeah,
Now, where are these kids at right now? Are they,
they're in an adoption agency.
which
Can
is
you
like
believe this?
is that like a
Adopt,
foster care home?
it's like a adoption agency place. Like, so it's a building. They have a few of these. They have one here in Ottawa County. Never heard of these places until these things started happening. So they have one in Ottawa County. They have one in Grand Rapids, but it's a adoption agency, I guess, where they have all these kids there for whoever want to come around and shop around and put a price on the kid. They have these places. They have these places, and it's sad that all these kids, you know, are in these places.
Oh,
So
it's a kids for cash scheme.
yeah, yeah, it really is. It really is, and it's really sad. It's really sad, you know. I know some kids may be in situations where they might have to be there, but my kids were never in a situation where they should even be there. Even got to that point. First, they were with a family. Then after July 19th, when I went off in the courtroom talking about how this lady falsified court, it seems like my kids will hurry up and release from that family, and then they were put in this adoption agency. But it's like they're making all these decisions, and then they send me paperwork in the mail after they have whatever little court meetings they have and all these things, like I say, and then they're sending me, information about other fathers that my kids children with on this case. Like, I don't need to know about what those guys like. That's you sending people's important information, addresses out to other people and stuff. That's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. How you
That
gonna
should be
send people
confidential.
right? How are you gonna send people uh
Uh-huh.
that's not even a part of that situation? You should just be sending them information only pertaining to them and
And
what's
the,
going on.
and now they're probably obviously sending your information to these other fathers or
Yeah.
mothers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody who's in on that case can see what's going on. Just like when they have all these court, half these people that's on here, I've never even seen these people. Like, I don't even know who these people is. And then you get to talking about me like I'm a piece of shit, and then talking about my disabilities in front of all these people. And like, I never said that was okay. And the
Mhm.
judge allowed that. And that's what blows my mind, that he allowed that. Didn't say nothing. Didn't say nothing. Judge Finn, Mark A. Finn, he didn't say a thing. Nothing.
How do I spell his last name?
Feyen.
And how
And
long?
he's still not saying nothing. Because I'm still getting paperwork with his name on the files and all this, as he's the judge. And so basically they're all allowing each other to be rogue, to be corrupt. And it's okay. It's okay here in Dutch town of Holland, because that's what they call this. This is Dutch town and all this. And they're so uppity about making it supreme every year for tulip time around here. But what if all those millions of people knew what you guys are really doing to your community, to your people of your community? It's all a money game. It's all
Yes.
about money here. It's all about money here. But I can care less about that. I just want an explanation of why are my kids being shopped around? Why were my kids did like that? And why was I did like this? Because not only do now you have people who were in the courtrooms and spectators that you never know who was in looking at the Zooms, because now they have Zooms. So long as you have that Zoom link, anybody can jump in and see what's going on. So, it's like I didn't need none of these people knowing about. anything of my medical history. I don't know nothing about any of these people's medical history.
Mhm.
I don't know I don't know how many rooms, how many bathrooms, what they got in their refrigerators and all this stuff that they were trying to question me about. How many rooms do you have in your house? And how many it don't matter. Just give me my children and they will be fine. All the things that you were I'm disabled. And so all the things that a person that may need some help with, you guys can help me.
Right.
I'm I'm obligated to all those benefits and all the help, but nobody wants to help.
And
Nobody wants to do it.
they're violating your ADA rights, your ADA
Yeah,
accommodation rights
they violated it. They
a
violated
lot.
a lot, a lot, and everybody's okay with that. Like I said, Demetrius Starling, thank you for that phone call, but I won't be participating in any of you state of Michigan CPS workers bullshit. And you supposed to be the national director. And this guy calls me and tells me when I'm asking about proof still, somebody show me some proof. Can anybody get some proof? And he tells me I sound like a guy, a person who doesn't want their children back. And I hung up in his face. Because you sound like a dumbass for calling me with that type of proposition. And you a black man yourself. How would you feel if you was in this situation? Would you want somebody to talk to you like that?
And
Tell
this
you you
was
sound like somebody that don't want your children?
oh,
So yeah, he can fuck off and he won't be getting any help from me.
right. And that
Because
was Demetrius Starling?
Demetrius Starling, when we did the first podcast, he was
Mhm,
the first sound like the first it sounded like he was irritated.
mhm.
Like I stirred up the hornet's nest, but I don't care. I want to blow the hornet's nest open. I want to stir everything up. I don't care because this is wrong. And I'm not going to sit back and just let these people do this to me. So if a war is what they want, then I'm going to go toe to toe with you. But you're not going to put me in jail. You're not going to threaten me. You're not going to force me to cooperate with anything that you guys have going on because I was never present. And if any of these people will wake up and act like they went to school for these jobs that they have, or any of the people that's amongst those people, I
Mhm.
can't believe this. I know it should be some good people in there, but nobody has spoken up. It's like all these CPS workers, and I know they had a big speaker because if he's calling me, then I know they all talking about that podcast. So I feel like somebody inside that building should be looking into what happened within that case. Where's the proof? Because just by you going to court and a CPS worker telling a story to the court against somebody else, that don't work. That don't work. I ain't never heard of nothing like that. And that's what happened. They just went off of the words that came out of Elizabeth Munchkin's mouth. And that's what I was gonna say in the first podcast. It might have sounded like when I was saying her name. So I'm gonna spell her last name, the rogue CPS worker, Elizabeth Munskins, Muyskens. She is the rogue CPS worker from Holland, Michigan, who created all this misery for me. Well, I got good news for her. It's gonna be misery in return for you and what you did to me and all your cohorts, all the people you had coming to court and lie from Ottawa County, Grand Rapids, all these people. And I kind of find it funny that the case originated in Kalamazoo. None of those CPS workers from Kalamazoo were even in the courtroom on July 19th. None of these people spoke up, but they all lied, the other agencies, just like all these homeless shelters and all these other people that were trying to supposedly help my kid's mother. None of these people were in the courtroom. And they just went off of what Elizabeth Muskin said in a petition that she filed to the court. So yeah, I just don't get her.
I think
And
what's
she's a Hispanic woman. She's a Hispanic lady.
Well,
It's crazy.
I've heard when I was going through this, I had one of my, nursing, you know, buddies warn me, and she said, "They will lie on the stand, and when
Oh
you
yeah,
go in there, you better take everybody and your brother."
yeah.
But I couldn't. It was just me and my parents. All my friends worked full time at that time.
That's how
Uh,
it was for me.
yeah,
Just me and my friends.
and what had happened also was when the judge had taken my kids to be sequestered
Mhm,
and, to talk to them, the CPS caseworker was coming towards me. This was the first one, and I looked
mhm.
at her and I said, "You're a liar." I said it out loud,
Yep,
and this was in the courtroom in the pews, and
just like me.
she said out loud, "What did you say, Marianne?" And I said, "Gee, I can't remember." And I just went and sat down because they were already calling me crazy. So, you know, I
Mhm.
I
Yep.
just and I probably should have said more, but my dad was saying, "Don't talk to these people." He was whispering to me, "Don't talk to these people." But you know what? Sometimes they need to be talked to.
Yeah, because they're still trying to use that too, trying to say that I'm a danger and
Uh,
immediate threat to harming my children. Like, I don't get this. Like, I have no charges of me ever hurting no children, let alone my own, from the past or right now to the present right now. So
mhm,
how do you keep stating that I'm a danger to immediate threat of harming my children? Or where they're at is basically a better place for them to be around me because I'm a harm to threatening, to doing danger. I just don't get where they come off with this court paperwork, how they type it up, and what they do. Because I'm asking all those people, especially that judge, Mark Finn, how would you feel if this happened to you, sir? How would you feel if one of your sons, grandsons, brothers, anybody in your family, I don't care if it's a man or a woman, and you a judge and they explain this story to you, would you be dragging your feet or would you be quick on your toes to help your loved ones? That's all I'm asking is for somebody to show me proof of to what Elizabeth Munson put in those documents. Where's her proof? Where's anybody's proof? Where was I at doing a 2 year investigation that you guys had? Where was I? 2 years? It should be boatloads of paperwork.
mhm.
It should be boatloads of paperwork. 2 years that you guys were fighting against my children's mother. 2 years. All these people that do things for the state, work for the state.
And somehow, the burden of proof really is on them, but somehow they put it on you as the parent.
Yep.
They got that backwards. But,
Mhm.
um, why I mean, I know they were saying they couldn't locate you, but
Yeah, they said that nobody knew who I was. Nobody could find you. And I found that funny because, like I told you in the last podcast, like these people think that you don't have, friends or friends that work in the same field or have worked in that field. Like their brains are still fresh from all the procedures and the things that you have to do when you make a CPS case. So I've been talking and it's all bullshit.
Mhm,
Like these people told me, it's all bullshit. Somebody was being lazy and didn't do their job right. So they had to make a, what would you call it? They had to make some type of deflection off of themselves and put it somewhere else. But it's not going to work with me, and it's
mhm.
not going to work here at all. Period. So
Right, and I know another parent, very similar, circumstances to yours in New Mexico, and I've had her on my podcast multiple times. Her name is
mhm,
Monica Grego. I may have mentioned her in the first podcast with you,
mhm.
but she's not allowing them she's not participating in their game
Yeah, I'm not
as
going to
well.
do it. I'm not going to do it. So they can say whatever they want to say. I'm all about proof. Show me the proof.
Mhm.
That's what the justice system is built on, right? When we come in that courtroom, when we come in any court, whatever state you in. Y'all make us swear under the oath, so help you God. So how are you saying all this and so help you God when you people are acting like devils in the courtroom? Y'all acting like devils.
Right. And I always question when they have you raise your right hand and swear
Yeah,
on what?
it's all a bunch of bullshit. What am
Right.
I swearing on? To try and have you people ruin my life, which is not gonna happen because I
Mhm.
don't need nobody maybe doing a background check on me. Oh, this guy has abuse and neglect charges on his own children. No, I don't need that because I never did nothing like that. And you know, that's something that no parent, I don't care what color you are, that's something that no parent, knowing that they never did that, they don't want that on them. And I definitely don't want that on me because I never abused and neglected my children. I don't know what they got going on here in Ottawa County, but this lady, Elizabeth Munskins, I hope her kids see this. I hope her kids see this. If she got a husband, boyfriend, I hope your boyfriend, husband sees this. I hope they do. Because the next thing that I was thinking about doing, Marianne, is going up his the good old library, you know, getting me a library card and using the computer and just type up a big essay, print me off 1,000 copies and start posting them everywhere around here in Holland
Mhm.
and see how they like that. You know, because I'm not gonna stop until I get a explanation. I'm not gonna stop until my kids are with me. So these people are in for a long haul.
You know what I did? I went onto Google Reviews and
Hmm.
I reviewed the agency, and I even showed bits and pieces of transcripts because when I was indicated for emotional child abuse, I had to get exonerated or I wouldn't be able
Hmm.
to work as a nurse with children. This is
Right. See?
uh,
That's
they made
crazy.
they made me lose everything, but I went
Hmm.
on there and I Google reviewed the judges, the
Hmm.
attorney, and this agency, and
Hmm.
I've had I think we're up to almost 20,000 views. And I
Okay.
figure if I can't hold them accountable in federal court or the appellate court, I'm gonna
Hmm.
have to let people know and show them, documents. Not, if I showed the voluminous documents, you'd be there reading forever. But the ones that were
Hmm.
more pertinent, I did highlight and show the public.
Hmm.
I don't know what else to do with these people as far as holding them accountable, especially the president judge at the time, you
Yeah.
know, the family court judge at the time, but then he became deceased. But I still gave him a review. And I
Hmm.
hope his wife sees that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, the thing was, after he passed, my mother read his obituary and it said, oh, he was missed by his 7 grandchildren. He always called them the Magnificent Seven.
Hmm.
And my mother said, weren't our boys magnificent?
Right. Right.
No, they weren't. They were chattel. They were money kids for cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see
That's
what
all
they're
it's
doing
about.
yeah, and what they're doing with you is they are making you pay child support so the
Hmm.
state can use those incentives.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is off the dollar.
Well, I was going to say this. My caseworker in Van Buren County told me that when I called to ask why am I still paying child support and then now with the month, she told me, well, you still pay and it'll go into an account and wherever your children go to, then the money will be released for them. How, when they're in an adoption agency, how's my money being spent on my children there? That's a state government run facility that's paid for by the federal government and the state. What children in there need to be paying for anything? You mean tell me y'all charging those children for meals, those beds they living in there, and all that?
Would that be called double dipping?
Yeah, basically.
Because the taxpayers paying, we'll say, I mean, because I don't know the situation, are they paying for this adoption agency? And do they know that the parent is paying child support, but it's not going, they're telling
Right.
you it's not going towards the kids until after they're what, 18?
Well, no, they're telling me it's gonna. No, she basically told me that my child support payments will continue for my kids that's in the adoption agency, but it will go into a account, and then wherever they are placed at, then the funds will be released to wherever they're at. I didn't get that. I
No,
think that lady was either drunk, high, or stupid when she told me something like that that day, because I still don't get that. You mean to tell me y'all just gonna take my money and put it in an account for my kid? Well, I could be doing that too and make sure it's gonna get to them. So I just didn't understand that. What account do you have set up for my kids? And then when they get placed or wherever they're going, you will release the funds to whatever agency or person that they'll be. No, that don't even sound right. I shouldn't even be paying child support.
no, none of
I
this should
shouldn't
have
even,
ever have happened to you.
I shouldn't even be doing none of this. None of this. But I'm glad I'm able to do these podcasts. I appreciate that. I really do. Because I'll keep doing them. I keep talking about, just like all the news agencies, Channel 3 here, uh Channel 8, uh Fox 17 News, all these. And then we have a news segment here with one of those news stations where they call themselves the problem solvers. They supposed to go out in the community when the community reaches out to them about issues and problems. And I've reached out to them numerous times. Nobody's responded back to me. And it seems like the only thing those problem solvers worry about is, they just had a story on there. A guy was walking his dog down the trail, and because his dog kind of got off the leash and ran off a little bit, the dog got tangled up in barbed wire. And this instantly made the problem solvers news. You mean to tell me because a dog got tangled up in barbed wire, and I'm telling you about some corrupt state officials and everybody else here going on, that that dog getting caught in barbed wire was more important than making it to the problem solvers news site than my story that I sent you guys, and the link of the first podcast. You mean to tell me that that story was more important than mine? So it's just like I gave up hope on trying to contact the news, because I gave up hope on reaching out to all these people. I could You could just imagine how many people I've reached out to, not just here in this state, the Department of Civil Rights, the DOJ, uh, everybody,
The attorney general?
everybody, the Attorney General. They told me that the at the Attorney General's office, somebody on the phone told me that, oh, we can't take situations like that because we work with CPS. So I lost hope with the Attorney General's office.
Oh, that's
Everybody else,
bad.
the Costas, lost hope with them. This guy, Michael Stewart, he was supposed to help me. He didn't do shit for me. He just basically put more holes in the ship for them, because he was supposed to be there for the entrance of the children. And if it was anything funny, they are the people that were supposed to relay information back to the proper people so they can handle it. I explained to this guy everything that was going on, and they don't want to hear nothing. All they keep asking me about is, so what are we gonna do about you trying to get your children back? What you mean? What are we gonna do? My kids should be brought to me,
Hmm.
and you guys should just leave me the fuck alone and
Right.
continue on about your day. You know, because that's how I feel. But like I say, none of those, all the resources that anybody probably said to use, I've tried them, and they all just brush it off.
Hmm.
Like I said, nobody's willing to help. It seems like everybody's dumbfounded. Nobody has a brain,
Mm-mm.
but it's everybody has a brain on that side saying that that's okay with what they're doing. But I'm the only one on my side with a brain too that's saying that that's all bullshit. But won't nobody look into it. Won't nobody pull up no. Where's the reports? Where's all the reports of these people making contact with anybody? Where's all those reports? I've never heard of you just going in the courtroom and be like, yeah, he stole a bag of tater chips. And he stole a juice. And then that's it. Oh, well, if she said you stole a bag of tater chips and he said you stole a juice, okay, lock him up. I've never heard of no courts just going off of what somebody's saying.
Yeah,
Never.
only the family court.
Yep, yep, yep. And they all connected together. They all connected. The
Mhm,
family court, they connected with the bigger court too over here. So it's like everybody works together. I've
right.
called all kinds of lawyers' offices here in Ottawa County, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Detroit, everywhere. Everybody act like this is a case that they know nothing about, or they tell me that, oh, you need this kind of lawyer, or you need this. No, I just need somebody who's gonna help me. I need
Mhm,
somebody who swore to do that job as a lawyer,
mhm,
to help me as a lawyer. Not help me because you got favoritism of these your buddies and all this kind of bullshit. No,
mhm.
I need somebody who is doing that job sincerely. And it's hard to find those people. So like I say, my trust is shot due
Mm,
to the fact of what these people have done to me, put me through, and still trying to bully me into doing, which I'm not going to do. So
mhm.
I
Well,
don't
that's
know what else.
yes, that's the same with Monica Grego in New Mexico. She's not going to play the game.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
I'm I'm not.
and, you know, I know that guy, Demetrius Starling said, "Well, do you want your kids back or what?" How did he word that?
No, when I started asking about, well, why nobody has looked into any of the things that I've been saying about, Elizabeth Muskins falsifying them court documents, and I was asking about proof, and he told me I sound like a person who do not want their children back. How you gonna threaten me like that? And that's when I just hung up the phone. I hung up the phone because at that point now you threatening me or telling me, I gotta do something just cause you got a position, just cause you got on a suit and a tie, you got that fake ass smile on that
Mhm,
web, and y'all swear up and down that y'all here to help and serve the community and y'all all for the children. Man, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I hope Demetrius Starlin see this. I hope his family see this. Like I say, he ain't shit. He's a piece of shit.
mhm.
Especially for talking to me like that.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yeah,
He's
demeaning.
a
They
real piece
talk
of
down
shit.
to you, demeaning,
Yeah.
like you're stupid.
Like he better than me. You
Mm,
ain't no better than me. God created everybody equal. I don't
mhm,
care what color you are. I don't care how much money you got. You can die right now and all that money will be where? Nowhere.
mhm,
You'll have no control. So it's just stupid. It's stupid that the only things that matter is the things that matter to certain people.
mhm.
Well, I'm not going for that
No.
because it's all about what's right and what's wrong or what's wrong. And this is totally wrong.
And they want to human traffic your children back to you for
Yeah,
probably a
because
sum of money.
right, basically, because on July 19th, my one daughter, she was there with one of the foster care families, which I didn't understand. Why would they have my 14-year-old in the courtroom watching court proceedings if they've already been through all this, all this bullshit? Why even have them coming to relive that fact? Why are you guys talking about things from 5, 6 years ago that supposedly happened with my kids and nobody was never prosecuted for the things that were going on?
So that judge allowed a 14-year-old to sit through court proceedings.
Yes, with the foster care family. Yes,
Because
yes, they do.
I've seen judges, you know, I've sat back before my case was up. I've seen
Mhm.
judges ask the kids to step out into the hallway.
Nope. They let us sit there for the whole thing. When they question me, She was there when they questioned my mother and father. She was sitting right there with the white couple, the man and the lady. And I guess the other people that probably had my kids, they were probably either on those screens with the picture blacked out,
Mhm.
but that's like people still listening and they can see, but you can't see them.
That's
Like
not
I don't
right.
understand that. Yeah, I don't understand that. So it's like,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
I'm just at the point, like, you know, it, I've even had family members. I explain this situation to me, and they tell me, "Man, that's fucked up. Have you
Yeah.
reached out to the news? Have you reached out to the news?" Well, just like I told you, I've reached out to all the news outlets. Nobody wants to talk. Oh, I guess my story ain't important enough to put out there. What is my story gonna do? Mess up some things that y'all got going on? Well, I hope it does
Mhm.
because this shit is wrong. And I wouldn't want to wish this on nobody. I don't care what color you are. Because like I cannot express this more. How would you feel if this happened to you?
Mhm.
Like, I don't care what color you are. How would you feel if it was any of your loved ones? I don't care if it's a man or a woman.
Mhm.
Because a man or a woman can pay child support. A man or a woman can have the kids. The kids can be either with the woman. The kids can either be with the man. So it's a both sided things. But when right is right and wrong is wrong is mixed up into wrong is wrong to being right. Like I don't get that. I do
No,
not get
did
this.
did they put you in a child abuse registry?
That's what I'm thinking that they probably did. I don't know. I know nothing about any of this stuff, how to look stuff up. I know nothing about this. I know nothing about the courts. This is one reason why I never trusted the courts, never trusted police officers,
Mhm.
never trusted anybody who swore under the oath because they ain't shit but crooks. And
Mhm.
this situation here really blew the lid off for me.
Mm. You know,
This really,
I mean,
yeah.
after I was exonerated, I did call the agency and I said, "Am I on a list?" And they looked on the computer and they said, You're not there." I think there's a hotline you could probably call to see if you're on there,
Well,
which you shouldn't.
I hope to God that that I'm not on no list because
Mm-mm.
that's really gonna upset me. That's really gonna make me be pissed off. That's really gonna have me pissed. Especially if you done falsely planted charges on me. Now I'm falsely on a list that I've never known nothing about this list until you just said something. I didn't even know that there was a list that they can put people on.
I
You
only
know,
found out about that when, I was indicated they sent me paperwork, and then if you turned over the paperwork, which, I mean, I knew there was something on there, but it said, "You will
Mhm.
be on this registry until the children hit 21." It was something like that.
Mhm.
I'm sure that paperwork is somewhere buried in all my documentation, but I thought even if I'm exonerated, um, is this gonna are is this am I still on this some type of list and I don't know it even though I've been exonerated?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is what people don't realize that this can happen to anyone. It happened I mean, this is your case is so bizarre. Really, honestly, ABC News should be picking this up, along with the other gentleman I interviewed yesterday,
I,
Emmanuel Shetler.
yeah. Well, like that's what I was saying. But back to when my family was saying, contact the news. Because I've been speaking to, a couple of family members down in Atlanta. I sent everybody who I could think of, you know, a tag of our first podcast. And that was the first thing that my cousin from Atlanta was stressing to me. He was like, "Man, cuz that need to be on the news because that don't sound right."
Right.
And I've been contacting the news and the news hasn't contacted me. Like I said, they only care about the little things. And I guess my situation is so small that it don't need no attention to them. That's how I look at it.
Um, I wonder about these news stations if they're afraid to expose something. Are they told not
Well,
to
I mean,
expose something?
when they had this trial, when these white guys tried to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer, they were blowing that all up. Oh, was
Mhm,
somebody just trying to kidnap the governor? Well, that's extreme.
mhm.
I'm putting on something just as extreme as that. Somebody
Yes,
kidnapped my kids and put them somewhere that they didn't even need to be when I'm standing here in the flesh. But
right.
I was overlooked like I was an ant or a little person.
Could it have been because of your race, do you think?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking because here in Ottawa County, it is racist. You know, my son was here. My son, John Sullivan Jr., he's 18 now. But I had him here in Holland with me for 2 years, and he went back with his mother because some things occurred up there that he wanted to get back up there to be for his mother. But
Mm,
when he was here, they had a white kid at Holland High School come to Holland High School dressed with a black face in front of all the kids. Nobody never spoke about this and never hit the news, never did anything. They just swept that under the rug. But all those kids at Holland High School, I guarantee you, if you ask those kids there, they will remember that situation. Okay, just 2 weeks ago, they had a black basketball player on the news shooting free throws in a high school gymnasium. And all the white kids in the gymnasium were making monkey sounds when he was shooting free throws. Okay, we just had another situation where a college kid was playing basketball here and the coach was making racial slurs, had been for a long time. It's a whole lot of racism here. It's the KKK is here. They have branches here. It's a town right not too far from here, Zealand. They used to get the KKK newspaper. So yeah, I think it has to do with race because it's only and I hate to say it, but it seems like the only people that get things around here done right are the white people. You
mm.
know, they
You know,
they're the only ones who can get a say so or anything. They just had a big shamble here just recently about all these corrupt board commissioners and all these people that's supposed to be for the board of Holland. All these people, they all into it because people were doing illegal things. And so it's like only what they want to put out there seems like makes the news. But I
has
don't understand that. When you have black people working at the news station, y'all have black anchors. These are black people that's on TV every day. And you mean to tell me I can't get my story heard, but all these other people's stories get heard?
has the NAACP reached out to you?
Yeah, yeah, they're a joke, and I hate to say that, but they're a big joke here. They threatened me talking about, well, do you have any money
Oh,
for a
no.
lawyer? Yeah, I spoke to a guy from over in Grand Rapids at the NAACP. I think his name was Kareem something. I know his first name was Kareem, but well, do you have any money to represent you for a lawyer? I mean,
Well,
I just lose hope because I thought you guys were a nonprofit. You're supposed to help people if they don't have money. This is what I was told,
mhm, mhm.
but I see it's all about money.
But I
And
smell a lawsuit after this. I mean, when you get your kids back after what they
man,
put you through, this is you would think they would smell a big lawsuit and send you an attorney.
I don't know what's wrong with these people. It's like they're trying to sweep it up under the rug and make it not so noticeable. But how can you do that when I'm not gonna stop talking about it? Like
Mhm.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it because I've never heard of nobody. being falsely accused of something, and then you still keep the charges on them after somebody done said this and nobody has looked into anything. The only thing that oh, we've talked to our cohorts, and like Demetrius started, I've been talking with them. You've been talking with them, but you're the national director. If anything, you can shake up the floor. You can have them provide all the proof to whatever allegations that they have against me, and nobody has done that. They're just going off of what Elizabeth Munskins said. And she's so wrong. That's why I hope her kids see this.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't no good mother. She don't even need children. You doing shit like this to people, you shouldn't even have your kids. You shouldn't even be allowed to even work around children, let alone still have your job. But they don't care.
Mm, I well, I want to have you back on,
Okay.
and we will stay in touch. How do you want to be contacted if anyone has any questions, if any other parents need help or some advice?
Uh, man, you got my email there, js113656 @gmail.com. You can send me an email, anybody. If you feel like you can help me with this, like you said, if you feel like you got a question or you think I might, or if I might be able to, but like I say, this is hard, man. This is a hard thing to be dealing with, but the only thing I can say is stand strong and be firm. Don't let these people bully you. Don't fall victim to the games, because that's all it is. If they were really pursuing about anything, like I said, why haven't I been locked up? Why was the mother never locked up? If you have all these charges and said they did this and did that, but nobody never did that. They just shopping the kids around. Now they got them in an adoption agency and all this. First they were all with families. Now they're in adoption agency. I don't get that.
No,
I
I
don't
don't.
get it. I
Well,
don't get it.
no, I'm speechless. Um,
Mhm.
don't jump off.
I
Slam the
won't.
Gavels, the podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I am your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again here with John Sullivan here in the future and other exciting guests. Thank you, John, for speaking out.
Thank you. No problem.